Guys, gather around, everybody get in here. It was a good win, so congratulations, first of all, but let's not get too excited here, and let's not get over-eager and overreach here. Now, Coach Spawn will be calling in here any second now to give his thoughts on the match, so again, remember, everybody give your full attention to Coach Spawn, okay? All right, here he is. He's actually calling in right now. Here's his words.
Thanks, assistant coach Gus. Woo! Let's go, boys. Up out of the chairs, up out of the chairs. Only game one victory, but that is a great start. One more game to go. Bradley in the top lane, mate. You would not be able to tell that you have role swapped. And after this, Gamsu might be role swapping back to Overwatch. And Jonathan,
John?
why are you in Champions queue?
What the hell?
What the hell? Has the gap in the mid lane, mate. We know these guys love to play through Jimmy and you're all over him. And my goodness, I am so happy that I have my starting bottom lane back. Billy Boy and Yun, you're taking over Summoner's Rift. Wixie looks like an amateur again. Guys, let's stay focused. Let's play for tempo. Go out there, one more game. We can do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Spawn, for your rousing speech. I hope everybody is feeling inspired and ready to get into this next game. You heard the coach. Everything on the Rift this time around, guys. Okay? And with that, we're going to send it back to the casters to get us ready for game number 2. Thank you, Assistant Coach Giss, for a lovely little halftime locker room chat there with Coach Spawn. Thank you, Coach Spawn, for giving that rousing speech. That was incredible stuff. I don't understand how Armeo can be playing Champions Queue in the background while he's currently playing Academy games, though, Cubby. I'm a little confused with the timeline of this.
I mean, you tell me. I feel like Armeo has the experience to do both, you know?
True.
He's flexible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to grind, right? He's got to grind to get to the top of that ladder, and, you know, maybe between games, that's how you do it. All right, guys, let's talk about that last game, though, because Team Liquid 100 Thieves, big matchup between these two, and like Cubby was saying on the cast, this felt like a statement game from Team Liquid Academy. Massive early game advantage played through the bottom lane. The draft was kind of cute from 100 Thieves, but the Kane just couldn't really do anything in the first couple minutes of that game.
And I think Coach Spawn said it best. Like, I'm so happy to have my bot lane back. Because we see what Team Liquid can do with their full roster. This is the team that I think community consensus was seeing this roster of 5. We thought this would be one of the top Academy teams. I know that there have been some swaps, but we just haven't seen that consistently out of Team Liquid yet this year. But that looked like the first game that I've seen where that's the Team Liquid that I knew from last year, where it was just dominant from start to finish, taking that early priority, making it work to the 10th degree. Really good to see out of the squad.
That's what I was going to mention. Like, I was praising Spawn for his draft in that game, but draft only gets you so far. It doesn't inherently win you the game. It's how you perform in that game with the draft that has been given to you. The Team Liquid took that to its fullest extent. They did so well at every stage. There was only one technical hiccup because one person died, but that's it. They only had one person die that entire game. It was absolutely dominant.
And again, that one kill that 100 Thieves were able to pick up, I mean, it seemed like Kenvi on the Kane was like, all right, I got to go blue Kane, I got to go assassin because there's so many squishy members on the enemy team, so that's why I was going for the bottom lane gank. But then the Realm War from Harry to turn it around, and then suddenly Team Liquid are back on the map. And speaking of Harry, he had like above perfect CS in that game. That was absolutely insane. It's like 270 CS around the 22-minute mark. So I think that everything's working out for Team Liquid here. But I want to now talk about it from the 100 Thieves perspective. And Cubby, maybe you can start thinking about that because Kenvi, 3rd in the league for kills, could not get off the ground in this game and pick up those kills to keep that stat rolling here. So what's the pivot for 100 Thieves going into game 2?
I've been very public about my love for Busio as a player. I really think this guy is mechanically special, and that's rare that you find supports like that. But I think for 100 Thieves, like with that draft, he felt like solo main engage with Thresh death sentences, right? Yeah. Or maybe trying to follow up on the mess that Gamsu was creating. And when you take a draft like that, you are losing all 3 lanes. Yep. You pick a jungler that can't do anything until the later stages of the game. And you can't do that against Team Liquid Academy. They are going to do what they just did on the map there. And I think that, I mean, the roster's back, but I just don't see the angle that 100 Thieves are seeing in how they're going to execute that draft. It felt like they just wanted to press skip over the first 15 minutes of the game, and Team Liquid's never going to allow you for you to do that. So they got punished really hard, and I want to see them try and take some more playmakers, or if you're going to take some scaling lanes, put Kenvi on a playmaker so that he can at least help out earlier, try and get one of the lanes going.
Exactly. Coach Golden Glue drafting, interestingly, for 100 Thieves Academy going into that first game. But of course, we can adapt into a game two. That's just game one. Now we have another one ahead of us here. And I think that there's a lot to learn from the draft and then also the play style of 100 Thieves. Now they can realize, all right, this team Liquid, Ayla is not skipping a beat, all right? He's willing to flash under turret to go for that first blood on a Karma of all
It was
things.
easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
So I think if anything, that was a good warm up. It was a good temp check for 100 Thieves. Speaking of the standings, I'll bring the conversation back to that one because Cubby, I know that the big thing that you were focusing on was these two teams are matched. Magical calls it the blob. We call it the clump. But regardless, now Team Liquid are one ahead. Remember, they split their series last time. So Magical, looking at this one here, I mean, if we're going on historical precedent, we could still have a clump ahead of us.
We definitely blob. We definitely could. But looking at how this is, I actually even want to bring up a completely random series where we look back to, I think it was last week with the Evil Geniuses, their first game against, I'm trying to remember who it was against, I think Dignitas, where they got absolutely stomped in the first game. They didn't get a single kill, they got 2 turrets, and that's it. They didn't get a single objective, no Rift Heralds, no Dragons. It was a one-sided affair. But then in game 2, they bounced back. They had a far better draft that was that allowed them to do a little bit more in the early stages of the game, so they didn't fall behind. So I'm looking towards this next game, especially for 100 Thieves. Make sure that you're just getting elements that can bridge from that early game to late game if you want to draft for late game. Kind of like what you were talking about, Cubby, with what Team Liquid did with drafting that Volibear. The bridge of the early game to the mid game for them, making sure there were going to be elements that worked really well and got them fed early.
And on top of just getting them to that late game performance, we kept saying that throughout the cast. We've said it multiple times since Team Liquid Academy not only were given the tools to succeed, but they understood what to do with those tools. I even want to talk about Bradley because at the start of the day, we were looking at Bradley versus Busio. You know, who's been the more successful role swap? Difficult to measure because, of course, very different roles. But, you know, in general, how are they looking? And Bradley on the Aatrox, bullying the Scion a little bit in lane. Wasn't able to get too much of a solo advantage in terms of kills, but of course, it's a Scion. But in that last team fight, I mean, showing up massive there as 100 Thieves were approaching to, contest at that Baron. It seems like Team Liquid, they just have the pieces coming together, Cubby. And I am hearing that we're slowly getting ready for pick and ban. The teams, that was a lightning fast game. It's like 23 and a half minutes, but they are taking the full time. So now thinking about that conversation we had at the top of the day, does this change your perspective of Bradley or Busio either way?
I mean, I still think I don't want to give Bradley too much credit for, playing Aatrox in the Scion. That I think that's a lane that we expect most people to be able to execute. I think that some of the improvements from Bradley were that, I think that cheater recall and then not getting cut out in lane, that is some more of the things that we are looking for out of him. And then for Busio, I mean, the one time he got cut out, the game is already over. I most of the adaptations that I want to see are from 100 Thieves' approach to this game. I don't think they gave themselves a lot of ability to make plays early.
Sure.
And I want to see 100 Thieves try and change that because we saw what Team Liquid can do if you don't try and match at least some of their early game. And it was dominant.
We'll find out quickly here, Cubby, because I am now hearing that we're ready for pick and ban. The teams are loaded in. So, again, I'm going to pass it to Magical to take us away for pick and ban of game number 2.
Thank you once again, Genghis. We'll see you afterwards so we can get an interview and all that jazz with the winning team in our second game. Best of 2s. That's why I mentioned before, Evil Geniuses, how they bounced back against Dignitas last week after a crushing Game 1 loss. Looking at this game as a way for 100 Thieves to now bounce back. While Team Liquid, Gon is wanting and really craving that 4-0. They are here to dominate. The bot lane is back on form. 100 Thieves still have these elements this is why we kind of highlighted the bot lane matchup, Wixie Busio versus Gon Ayla, because it is very exciting.
And I know that, we've been talking a lot about Yon, that confidence. It said that they've had a good week of practice and feels like they can win. I want to flip back to Busio, though, I should say Wixie Busio, because talking with Wixie, you said that, we know that on match days, we feel like we're a team when we are at our best, that we can beat any team in the league and 2-0 them. But we're just still trying to work on that consistency. And that does make sense, given that, they are 2 rookies in the bot side. Jimmy's still picking up English, so we have seen a couple moments where there have been miscommunications with them in the game. And it just feels like this team are really trying to still come together. we have seen them put together some good bounce back wins in game 2s. My mind goes back to their series against C9, where they got clobbered game 1, came back and clobbered C9 even harder in the second game. And I think this would be a huge bounce back for 100 Thieves. They are able to put it together. We are already seeing a small adaptation in this draft phase, as that Rise not going to be given over to Harry this time around, Mad Magical. And that now means that both Jinx and Aphelios are up.
Well, after seeing Harry play that last year, I think it was his 3rd most played champion in Summer, where he actually had something like a 62.5% win rate on Rise. But seeing it here, he hasn't played it as much. It's been Jimmy who's really played it. Now that Rise has kind of come to the forefront of the meta, makes sense because we knew Jinx would be the first pick if it was left open. That is no surprise. But the fact that we see on the other side that Tahm Kench, that had been banned previously by Team Liquid, hasn't been banned. They're leaving that open, but it looks like even though Aphelios, another one of those picks that was traded out for the Rise, isn't really the option that Team Liquid want to go for.
If Karma's left up, you can play this poke lane of the Jinx, and it's rather successful. I am curious if they try and answer with the Tahm Kench instead of the Thresh. I think TK has a little bit more sustain, and the Q trades early can maybe help you get out of that lane phase. So maybe that's one of the adaptations that 100 Thieves are looking to make. But I'm expecting to see the Ezreal locked in here. A high jungle pick for Armeo and give you the ability to counter one of the solos on 3 if 100 Thieves decides to take that. And now 100 Thieves, they already know the identity of what Team Liquid are going for. It's once again that early poke, early pressure in the bot lane, and this can transition into poke comps later. And I want to see if they are able to take some things that can deal with it better. My eyes go towards maybe even taking an early Jace, trying to deny that from Team Liquid and try and answer that way. That could be one of the options, but looks like still somewhat similar. 400 Thieves, they're going to take that Thresh, and now they're hovering a Hecarim.
Oh, that's interesting. So I was kind of with you. I was thinking
Don't get baited by hovers.
I know, we shouldn't get baited, but it was banned in the previous game by 100 Thieves. They took that away from Armeo. Not really something that screams a can be picked team, but they lock it in regardless.
Okay. So this does give you the ability to engage upon a poke comp, and does take away that pick from Team Liquid. Now, I expect Armeo to pick up either Xin to get in the face early, or I think the next most preferable one would be Volibear Udyr, try and match the early full clears and go from there. But the adaptation from Team Liquid, of course, that Rise taken off the table, it is now going to be an Ahri, and they can ban away a couple of the counters they don't want to face when it comes to Ahri. So expecting to see Syndra be taken away here potentially by Team Liquid, and then I want to see 100 Thieves still take away that Jace. I think that's going to be a really important pick still. If Team Liquid get their hands on that, could be deadly.
So I will say for Harry, since stepping back in for Academy, because, you know, all the traveling issues that happen, especially with everything going on in the world, he wasn't here for a lot of it. But since being here, he's only played one other champion twice. That was Orianna. Now Ahri is going to be that other champion. Oh, no, sorry, I'm actually wrong. I missed the first row. But it still adds up. He's played a myriad of different champions over this split, where it's another look for him. This is something that we've seen him have proficiency on.
Yeah, I think we were getting at 12 unique champs.
There we go.
And of course, he didn't get here until week 3. So Harry's champ pool has been very big, but Ahri, as you mentioned, Mad Magical, it is a repeat. And I think Ahri's really deadly because you are able to get push mid and then utilize, you know, your pretty heavy upfront damage kit that you have to try and go attack enemy sides. So I want to see them pair this up with an aggressive jungler where Harry and Armeo can both move to go attack the side lanes of 100 Thieves. Now, with the Ezreal Karma that you already have locked in, you know you can attack bot again. It's the same lane match. We saw how well Team Liquid were able to play this in game 1. Now we're going to have to see what they pair it up with. I did tease the Udyr or the Volibear being potential matches. Volibear was taken off the table. And this will lead Armeo to actually lock in his most played. Going to be his Viego, as he is 4-2 in his Viego so far in Academy.
Viego in the beginning stages of Academy was one of the premier junglers, right? He was played pretty much by almost everyone the most. But it's not like those nerfs that he suffered in a couple patches ago really fully took him out of the meta. It just made him more on the fringe. And going up against something that wants a power farm, it kind of makes sense. But the Vex pick for Jimmy as the answer into Ahri is a bit interesting.
I think that totally changes the feel of its composition from 100 Thieves. This is a straight dive comp now.
Yeah.
We have Hecarim plus Vex. It is all about going in, getting the fear, chaining that up with Vex, and now getting resets on the side of 100 Thieves. Now, we'll see if they can add maybe some more upfront damage with Gamsu's blind to the top side. I know his 2 favorite blinds, Renekton and Gnar, are taken off the table, so it will lead Gamsu to take this Graves. And now, the most common answer we see is a Tryndamere, something that Bradley has played.
Yeah.
That is on the board. He could also go for something like Aurelia. He has played this in the Graves, too, if he wants to try and win that lane. Bradley's got a lot of option. His champ pool also very wide. He's played 14 unique champions this year as well. So both the Team Liquid's solo laners have a lot of flexibility. We could see Bradley show some of it here, as he's actually going to take Camille.
Making 15 unique champions coming.
Yeah, this is his first Camille so far. So another new look for Team Liquid.
Wild. That is wild. I was looking at what he has played, the Tryndamere, like you said, also looking past for Bradley. One of the champions he made his name on in Proving Grounds last year was that Aurelia. Everyone feared it. It was the most banned towards this player throughout Proving Ground circuit. But instead of going for that to try to, get those kills to really hammer home the top lane, goes for Camille. Kind of a similar aspect, though, to the Aurelia.
Somewhat. It doesn't win this matchup as hard, though.
Yeah.
And in fact, if Gamsu goes Hullbreaker, I haven't seen Camille build Hullbreaker. So I'm curious if we have Bradley match Hullbreaker for Hullbreaker. That could be one option against the Graves. I don't expect it, but it does put this top lane on the back foot. But also, if you are able to attack the Graves, I think that's, once again, the big story for Team Liquid. You have Viego plus Ahri. This is an assassin mid laner plus Viego. If you're able to get the reset for Viego, it's huge. I want to see if Harry is able to utilize that mid lane priority to try and get to side lanes, have an impact on the map. And it feels like Jimmy with the Vex is trying to match some of that side lane movement too. So I think my eyes really go on each of these mid laners. Are they going to be able to enable their sides? And what can each team do with enabled sides? Because we saw what Team Liquid were able to do last game with theirs in the bot lane. So I think that was a big story of game 1. See if it is a big story once again in game 2.
As we get ready for our second game of this best of 2 between 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, feels like there are more answers this time around for 100 Thieves. A little bit more
earlier options.
Yeah, more early options, a bit more agency. Yeah. And this is what we wanted to see, the adaptation in that draft.
And as we do start to dive into this draft and into this game, I think 400 Thieves, it still is going to be early full clears expected for Kenvi. Also, I do want to highlight, given the fact that Kenvi has Ghost and Phase Rush, I'm expecting for him to go for that full tank Hecarim with the Chem tank. So I think Kenvi's going to play more of a tank role, which, again, this is a different look for Kenvi. Kenvi has not played a ton of champs and has mostly stuck to his champs. And he's playing Nidalee, he's playing Kindred, things that we know that Kenvi's known for. We just saw the Kayn in the last game. So this is another look for Kenvi. And as someone that we already think so highly of in the ecosystem, someone that we know can play at an LCS level, seeing him try and push his horizons with some more flexibility is good. So really curious how he does on the Hecarim as well.
We are loaded up onto the Rift. Solid Team Liquid, they did attempt that level 1 play, the shenaniganeries in the bot lane once more, but there was nothing that time. Busio didn't even put a ward, expecting that the play was going to be the same, but it still gives the control this bot lane of Team Liquid desires.
And it's a similar setup, whether you go for that ward or not. As both Yon and Ayla ready to land this poke. This time, 100 Thieves trying to be a little bit wiser to it, and it will actually sidestep the initial cues from each of the bot laners. So, well played by 100 Thieves. A better job getting into the lane without losing their health bars this time around.
Well, that's one thing. The advantages of a best of 2 that you can learn from the mistakes you made previously, as well as what your opponent wants to do. They realize that Ayla and Yon want to play aggressively like this, but it is going to be a full commit from both sides. Ayla's on the wrong side. The flash comes in from Blixie, but it's still first blood traded back. Busio gets 1 for 1.
And it's a press the attack Ezreal. So that emphasis on the level 1, the damage, I think that helped make sure that Yon was able to trade out the AD for his support. Well worth it for the side of Team Liquid, as we are going to get a second look. And the preemptive flashes from each of, or I should say each bot laner, made the big difference in this play. Once again, this is the kill, yes, going over to both supports, but the AD for Team Liquid, he's the one that's able to stick around, get the gold, get the experience, ends up coming out on top of the trade.
nearly all summoners blown in that bot lane. Only one that remains is Busio, the surviving member on the side of 100 Thieves. But like you mentioned, it is so much more beneficial to have your AD carry survive. Even if he doesn't get a kill, he can now gain control, get the experience, get some extra farm above something like a Jinx that wants to scale, that wants to power farm, now is going to struggle to do so.
And this was the big story of game one. Yon Ayla utilizing this Ezreal Karma to get Team Liquid that bot lane priority, get them ahead. Again, already they are ahead with Armeo still pathing towards this side of the map. They should be able to secure the crab, given the priority that Team Liquid's bot lane has. And we'll see if Kenvi wants to get frisky. It looks like he's just going to default to taking the full clear, and Team Liquid will win out on the crab.
Well, he wants to. You can tell so badly Kenvi wants to have these early plays work. Normally, Hecarim, Bootier, these junglers that want to power farm. We've seen Malice play him many times, just power farming in the early stages of the game, a couple plays here and there. For Kenvi, he is more aggressive than that. He loves to try to impact as quickly as he can, or even match something like what Armeo did last time. Unfortunately, in the previous game, this didn't work out so well. Here, he's doing a pretty good job of making sure to farm up. The only problem is the bot lane is still suffering for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Wixie's just going to be behind now in terms of the Ezreal. And that is one where over time, things can get a bit better. As we'll see if Wixie, Busio are able to get this lane off the ground. There are missing some, so I think that both teams, you can see the junglers. Kenvi's yet to reset. He's taken the top crab, but Armeo has, and he's just continuing his bot, or top 2 bot clear, trying to work his way towards this lane. To support Yon and Ayla in them playing aggressive.
Nice.
As we have a nice hook plan.
Play. No flash on Ayla's side, but that's a lot of damage on Wixie on the other side. The press of the attack coming in clutch for Yon to make sure that his support won't go down.
Few more death sentences like that, though, could get frisky, and Ignites are back on the board. Busio has flash. If he really wants to fish for a play, they would know at this point. Jungle timers are still synced, so Armeo is going from the top 2 bot side. They should be able to reasonably infer this, and we'll see if 100 Thieves bot lane wants to get more aggressive, as that really feels like where all the action is early, as both these junglers just looking to hit 6.
But it's not even just the fact that both junglers, farming it up, paying attention to the bot lane. We've been hyping up this bot lane. We're excited for Yon, Ayla versus Busio, and you can see that continues in the bot lane with the Ignite onto Ayla. He's low, he'll die to Wixie. The resets weren't enough to be able to keep Busio alive, and he dies as well. Double kill for Yon.
There are no sums in the bot lane. Team Liquid just put a giant X marks the spot. They get there first with Armeo. Wixie and Busio both fall, and even though Ayla is traded out, it's again Yon the one that's farming up the rest of the wave, making sure this is pushed in. Wixie's losing out of the play, and Team Liquid just keep on sticking to their win con of game 1.
And worst of all is who gets both kills this time. Previously, it was Ayla to get the kill. This time, Yon got that double kill through the fight. So he's going to come back into this lane incredibly powerful.
And I know we had a replay fly. I loved Armeo, the target selection, knowing that Busio was already going to fall, making sure that that stun connected with Wixie, who once again was missing sums. Really good play by Armeo. I know that's a small thing, but just something that we've come to expect out of Armeo, a player of that caliber with that form of experience. As Team Liquid, it's not as big of a lead as last game, but still almost a 1k gold lead early. Dragon is now on the map. Rift Herald spawning soon. I'm looking to see if Team Liquid tries to make a play for the Rift. I once again think that Rift is the big target for them. If they are able to get that first tower, start rotating the Ezreal Karma around the map, that is where we started to see 100 Thieves really fall apart in the last game. So I think it's a big key in this one, and we'll have to see if Ayla and or Yon decide to rotate for that objective later.
There are small differences for 100 Thieves. Not only do they have double the amount of kills they had from the previous game already in this game, but the fact is, if you look at mid and top, they're not nearly as devastating as previous. Hayri, Jimian are about even. Even if Hayri has a little bit more of a CS lead, Jimian's been doing a good job of completely clearing out most of these waves, so Hayri can't roam around the map. Then you look top lane, same thing for Gamsu. He's not falling devastatingly far behind something like that Aatrox he did before, because Camille, while a new pick and a new face for Bradley here, isn't quite that lane-dominating champion that we expect from Bradley, like the Aurelia.
No, but honestly, I think that Bradley's outperforming this lane at the moment. This is one where I think especially once you get Hullbreaker on the Graves, you feel pretty comfortable stepping up. So I think this is a nice sign for Bradley because this is a more difficult lane to play out than the last one, and I think he's actually done a really nice job of managing these waves and keeping even as being ahead as the Camille. That means he's going to become a big problem in the later stages. As I know IT's Rift Herald. Rift Herald is on the map, but it looks like Team Liquid going to try and use this bot lane advantage they have to start up this Dragon. Should be able to take it uncontested as they synced it up with the blue buff timer being handed off to the Vex. Means that Armeo just gets to do this on his own for free.
No way to really stop it from 100 Thieves, because look at where Kenvi is. Like you said, handed off that blue buff. No answer. With the bot lane winning 2 from Team Liquid, there's no real reason to try to fight over that. You gotta kind of have to forfeit a lot on this bottom half of the map if you're 100 Thieves. It might be better for you to answer on the top half of the map. Make plays, answer for anything that Team Liquid want to do on that bottom quadrant.
And once Kenvi wraps up with this clear, that's where we're going to have to look for both of these teams. As I think Team Liquid, if they want to, if they shove in their bot lane and have them reset and want to swap the lane states, they would be the ones that would get to that Rift Herald first, given the bot lane priority. So that's another option for Team Liquid in taking this Rift Herald cleanly. At the moment, they look like they want to hand off that blue buff to their mid laner as well. It'll be the priority for Armeo. After the Wolves should be the swap, and then we'll start to see if either of these teams want to posture for Rift.
Expecting that from at least Team Liquid, especially with Bradley playing aggressively into Kamsu, who does not have that Hullbreaker just yet. So he gets a lot of damage back and forth. Has to still be careful because now bot lane, the answer.
Here we go.
This is what I want to see. Cross-map plays from either squad. The unstoppable onslaught gets the beard with the flash from Ayla, keeps him alive. Tap not connecting. True Shot Barrage does a lot of damage to Wixie.
And look at the 80 levels. Yawn is 2 levels up over Wixie, so going for that play just gets even more difficult for 100 Thieves as Wixie didn't even have access to the ultimate yet, had to burn heal on the back half, and Kenvi showing up there, that's going to cost them the Rift Herald, so an expensive attempt for 100 Thieves Academy, and again, Team Liquid, they punish cleanly.
Yeah, it's really good answer from Team Liquid. Getting another neutral objective, the second one of the game. The play,
for free.
Yeah, for free. Gets the play attempted by Kenvi. While I applaud that they attempt to have a cross-map play work out, it just didn't net enough. It's a lot of safety in this bot lane with the shields, with the double dashes that Yawn could have if he has flash up, but then also Ayla getting his flash back up. It was unfortunate for 100 Thieves that it didn't that much.
Now, they did get Ayla's flash, so that is a place that 100 Thieves can attack, and keep in mind, this is Hecarim Vex. This is a mid-jungle duo that can try and attack the side lanes, can try and make things happen throughout this game. So, see if 100 Thieves can make it, or at least go back there and punish, as at the moment we have Harry fighting to get this mid-wave in against Jimmy, and supports on hovers as well. And I just want to see, I think that Armeo, at the end of this clear, will drop the Herald at the bot side, and I want to see what kind of answer 100 Thieves has to that play, because if they aren't able to answer it, it's a rinse and repeat of the last game, Mad Magical. It's that bot lane falling, and this Ezreal Karma getting freed up again, something that gave the comp from 100 Thieves so much difficulty in the last game.
That's just a little bit later for Team Liquid. That's the only difference. It's still great plays coming in from them. You look top lane, where Bradley might be even in CS against Kamsu, but he has control of the lane. And that I'm glad you applauded Bradley for the fact of how he's playing this lane, because it is nice for Kamsu that he's not massively far behind like the previous game. It's still really good on Bradley to play this lane well, and now they're attempting to play in the bot lane as you had asked, Cubby. They look for that play, but they weren't able to get anything yet. They're waiting it out. They've got the resets on Armeo, but the play comes in with the flash away. He had to use the ult in order to get out. Now Kenvi's nearby, but he... Oh no, he does now have his ult.
At least 100 Thieves have a bit of an answer. A plate's still going to go over to Yawn, but the Rift Herald is not dropped. Armeo is deterred. And I like that from 100 Thieves. It can be right spot at the right time. I know I was kind of asking to see what he was able to do on this tank Hecarim. Bit of a different pick, different flavor for Kenvi, who has stuck to carries this game. I think that was a nice moment from him, showing up at the right time, making sure it wasn't a disastrous play for his bot lane again.
And that's actually, I think, a big thing, is we look at this composition for Team Liquid. While they do have a few more late-game scaling options in that Camille and Viego, they still have early game power that they want to exert over 100 Thieves. But 100 Thieves, the only real issue they've had is in that bot lane. And still, they got Wixie a kill, even if he's 1 and 2. That's a little bit of extra gold for this Jinx to kind of bridge that gap. And you also have Kenvi helping to make sure they're not falling massively far behind. It's only 1,000 500 gold lead for Team Liquid at this moment.
And I like this moment from Kenvi again, because we saw Armeo hovering mid, just enabling Harry to step up, make sure he cleared that wave. And it was an attempt on a set play from Team Liquid to rotate bot to get Shelly down. Now, it's not going to prevent that from Kenvi, but I think that him at least spotting Harry, it's going to save his bot lane from potentially getting dove 4v2. So with nothing really to do on the map, Kenvi still trying to make things happen, still trying to be in the right place. And it's not going to stop the plans of Team Liquid, but it at least is going to enable the rest of his team to stay on the map and pick up the resources left over.
Exactly. And these are just good elements to get them into that better late game scaling option. The late game comp, even if they have full dive options available to them, resets, they still need to get some items under their inventory. Look at Dimian, look at Wixie, the two members that I'm going to keep my eyes on for getting the most damage. Envy might lead the charge, but Jimian and Wixie are going to be the crutches that keep these fights afloat.
And as we shift into the mid game with plates falling, I know that early we actually put a lot of emphasis on seeing if Jimmy or Harry could get out of lane. Neither of them did anything. That's a bummer. Losing the blue buff there to the Heckram W.
Yeah.
Unlucky for Jimmy. But they just hung out in lane, able to get farm. I think that now these are two champions that really spike hard on that first mythic completion. I want to see if either of these teams can find a big mid-game fight, find a big mid-game angle, because it's two reset comps going up against each other. We got resets on Vex and Jinx versus the resets on Viego and Ahri. So I think whoever has the better engage, whoever gets the first punch that's stronger, it's going to be a team that has the advantage. Team Liquid with the 2.5k gold lead, that's going to help that quite a bit, but I still think Jimian and Kenvi could sync up and try and find a good engage, try and find an answer.
With that Turbo Chem tank built up for Kenvi as well, got great chase down potential, especially if Jimian's able to land that Shadow Surge onto a target to immediately follow up. It doesn't matter how many dashes you have at that point. If that connects, that's going to follow you. The fear will come immediately too.
And also the Busio death sentences, because I know that Busio last game was kind of forced to play main engage. Now he's definitely in that secondary engage role where I really favor Thresh if he is going to try and land those aggressive death sentences. Still think he's going to be mostly playing defense for Wixie, but at least 100 Thieves, they have more ways to start fights. We're just going to have to see if they can actually get the lane priority to do so, because in the mid lane, it's the same story as last game. Yawn, Ayla getting perma push, Ayla just hovering the side of the map that Team Liquid wants to play towards, and enabling that side laner, making it really difficult for 100 Thieves to answer.
Kenvi finds Ayla, but he had flash available, so Shadow Surge
he's
does not
still going.
connect, and he is by himself. He's got a lot of damage, but they get the flash in to get the kill on Ayla. Now Yawn has to flash himself back to the turret to keep himself alive, with one down on the side of Team Liquid. 4 here, 400 Thieves. Want to see if they can do a little bit more, but they noticed that Harry had moved back up, so it could be risky. You got a fear onto Harry. That's going to be the Everfrost, but the kill comes in from Armeo, so he can chase down more members. Busio, he got a good pull, but now he's put himself in a bad spot. They can kill him off underneath the turret for a killing spree, with the charm too on Kenvi. Everyone's falling down for 100 Thieves.
And the attempt from 100 Thieves was good, but the answer from Team Liquid, it's better and it's not done.
Armeo charging forward to get another kill, make it 4 in total for Team Liquid.
Woo-hoo! And Team Liquid, they aren't slowing down, man. They want that 4-0 this week as Armeo, Harry, they punch back. I know we have a replay queued up for this play, and I like the attempt from 100 Thieves. We said they had more engage tools, more ability to create plays to make things happen in this game, and we see Kenvi attempt that. A was in a bad spot. He is forced to flash out. The follow-up works, but they go too deep. Harry isn't being checked on the side lane, and when he roams up, he just completely shifts this fight back in favor for Team Liquid Academy.
I thought they had noticed that Harry was walking up too. You gotta expect that Ahri wants these flanks, and it was exactly as done on for Jimian.
I love the follow-up from Yawn, too. Like syncing up that CC with these Mystic shots being peppered in. Yawn, originally, when he was up and coming with 100 Thieves next, he was a standout Ezreal Senna player.
Yeah.
These were really the champs where he made a difference on. And seeing him return to this Ezreal karma, he has been a nightmare to face in lane. He's been a nightmare to face in these team fights. It feels like those Mystic shots just keep on connecting. Sitting at 4-0 and 2 again. He is the big carry for Team Liquid in this game, one that is so difficult for 100 Thieves to deal with because even with the more engaged tools, you're still going up against an Ezreal Karma. It's so tough to get on these two champions, especially given how far ahead they are.
So they attempt once more,
Oh,
but
they're
he
trying.
dashes over the wall, and the ult from Kenvi finds that Armeo. They get a shutdown kill for Kenvi. Now the TPs are in. Team Liquid could continue this fight, especially with the fact that they got a pincer maneuver onto the side of 100 Thieves. A lot of damage to Busio. He's low. They've got Bradley here. The team fight prowess of this top laner is working out amazingly for Team Liquid with Harry, the charm. It connects. Jimmy's down. Double kill for Bradley.
And every charm, every CC that lands, Yawn's following up with Mystic Shots. Can he get Wixie?
He's looking to jump over. The blast cone gives him a little bit of distance, but Yawn is not done hunting.
He's got heal.
He's got 2 levels 2 over Wixie. And poor Wixie knows the turret is not salvation. It is not safety for you. The heal's there. Unstoppable, Yawn. The dash over the wall, but it's going to be a collateral damage kill picked up by Gamsu.
A bit too deep from Yawn, but I think the message is still sent across that Team Liquid, they're here to dominate. They aren't going anywhere. I know that the flank, the angle from Bradley was good, but the follow-up from Harry, again, I thought was even better as Busio connects on a different target, and honestly, it's one that 100 Thieves might rather have as Armeo falls instantly. But with the TP coming in from Harry, with the angle from Bradley, they're cut off. And look at how they play and split this fight. This is a beautiful engage from Bradley as he turns the 4v5 into a 4v2. He splits the fight, and from here, Harry's able to get a reset. The Charm Flash is beautiful. Again, Yawn's in position to follow up with these Mystic Shots. And Team Liquid, these explosive early games into the mid games, they're snowballing these cleanly. They're playing their comp out beautifully. And 100 Thieves, while they took more answers in this game, they aren't dealing with the punches back from Team Liquid very well.
Not at all. And honestly, I even want to just ask you, how many dashes did Harry get in that fight? It seemed like he got at least 7.
Hey, these Ari resets, man, it's something that you got to think about, you got to deal with in these fights. And I do want to return to live because this is an important dragon for 100 Thieves to take if they are able to get it. It would deny Soul Point. You can see Team Liquid, they want the fight. They know they're strong right now.
Look at where Jimmyin is. Spotted out. Bradley is completely zoning him on the other side, so he can't join in. The fear is now down. This dragon is low, but it resets temporarily. They've still got the aggro for Team Liquid. Kenvi doing his damnedest to make sure that's not going to happen with the unstoppable onslaught, but now he is low. Bradley's pulled back in. He's shut down by Wixie. The resets on 100 Thieves. They might be able to work out. They've got a lot of damage, but they got to be careful. Look at the damage that is being peppered down by Yawn. But that's Busio coming up clutch. He might have died, but he's forced off the members of Team Liquid. The smite secure with the bounty before 100 Thieves, but now they must escape. Look at the damage on with the charge. Gamsu will fall, but it all is for the dragon. They've got themselves the objective.
I honestly, it's a tough fight. I think it's worth it for 100 Thieves. They at least got the Infernal Dragon, but Team Liquid, they know Kenvi's low. They know that Gamsu's in the Death Chamber, and Jimmyin doesn't have a TP. They were at least shifting towards Baron's side, but will only take the buffs. But Team Liquid, again, I love the way they're setting up these fights. 100 Thieves pulled it. They were just chipping them out, poking them down. It waited for the right time to re-engage, and they do lose out on the objective, but they still went out on the fight.
Getting these fights to work out, and look at the look at the stacks on the chapter for for the Magi's that Harry has. 14 stacks now on that item. He is 2-0 and 7. He is looking fantastic for this game. Plus, doing an item check-in, that's triple Trinity. There are 3 Trinities. They are going full Legends of Zelda on the side of Team Liquid.
Yeah, they took Triforce pretty seriously here, building 3 of them up for TL. I think it is a good time. We do have to check in with where we're at in the game state. I still think it's reset city for both of these teams.
Oh, yeah.
As time goes on, Wixie still is really far behind. He is the one that's going to be that big late game carry, that late game insurance for 100 Thieves. I still don't think he's in a great position. And Team Liquid has so many tools to attack. They have Harry with these charm flashes, with these dashes as well. Bradley on the Camille can always lock down Wixie, and Wixie's still far behind. Not to mention the range from Yawn. So I think the big key for Team Liquid, yes, they are ahead. If they want to continue to stay ahead and make sure that this game is going to be theirs, they have to find clean engages onto Wixie. He is the one that can get the damage, get the resets, that can change things for 100 Thieves. I think as long as Team Liquid is able to play around that, they're in good shape.
Well, they can also hit him a bit with the wallet. 2 items for Bradley, the Hullbreaker to answer the Hullbreaker on the other side from Gamsu, but 3 items if you count that Magi for Harry. Horizon, Focus, completed lots of damage, and the resets that they can get to force out members like Kenvi going to be pretty big. You can tell that Kenvi no longer has that confidence to play into Team Liquid, to aggress so deep into enemy lines.
And speaking of confidence, I mean, look at Yawn. He is arcane shifting with these Karma Shields into the Hecarim.
Yeah.
He has no fear. He is so far ahead on this Ezreal at 6-1-6. Completed Muramana as well. There is nothing stopping this guy from taking over this game. He already has and continues to do so. Just have to keep on making sure that they are taking Wixie off the map. I think as long as Team Liquid can do that, 100 Thieves can't break what they're thrown at him.
He has the utmost confidence in Ayla. Yawn knows that Ayla is always going to have his back, and if Karma's nearby Ezreal, we're going to continue to see Yawn play aggressively. I mean, even Son talked about the fact they have their roster back together. This just is shown with how they played every stage of this game in this bot lane.
And we aren't going to see much action here, Mad Magical. I know the Baron's on the map, but Team Liquid, I think they have their sights set on this Infernal Dragon, because we are about a minute 30 away from the next objective. Really want to keep our eyes on Bradley, Harry. I think if they are the ones that are able to find the angles onto Wixie, that's what we're looking for. And they are also the ones that should have priority in the side lanes. So if they are able to use that, shift it into good angles on the Wixie, that's the goal for Team Liquid.
Well, this is where we have to even bring up the fact that while 100 Thieves have a dive composition, they have resets on their side. Notice Team Liquid. They have a pretty good dive as well from Bradley, Armeo, Hayreed, even Yawn with how aggressive he's been playing. They all can dive deep into enemy lines and look for Wixie, who is not nearly as mobile.
And you can see Team Liquid, they just shoved out each of their sides. So as 100 Thieves are answering, this enables them to step in, get priority over the bot side river. And they're already forcing 100 Thieves to hug the top side, forcing them out. So complete control over this river. When you have the poke of an Ezreal Karma, this is really tough for 100 Thieves to overcome. They have to bluff towards the top side where they're going to get found and continue to get chunked out as Yawn. He finished that Serelda's already on the side of Team Liquid, so he's hitting even harder now.
That was 2 Mystic shots that almost got Kenvi down to 50%. That he had to eat the honey first. Ooh, a nice pull from Boostio. Yawn has to go golden. This could be huge for the side of 100 Thieves. If they can kill this Ezreal immediately, there's no real fight with the shutdown for Wixie. Here's the TP's in. That is big. Boostio, he is a legend with these hooks.
This entire game, we're setting up Yawn being this big hero. He's so fed early, and Boostio just gives him the death sentence. He eats it, they chain it into a kill, and just like that, all the good work put in by Team Liquid to shove out the side, take control over the spot side river. It is broken with the single death sentence from Boostio, as that nets the second dragon, the second objective bounty for 100 Thieves, as they close the gold gap a bit. That's a big deny as well.
The objective bounty goal too, Pubby. They're getting that on top of getting the dragon.
We do have a second look at this death sentence from Boostio. As, man, so Boostio, I mean, him as sport, we always talk about him being just such a mechanical freak. He is so good at being able to connect with some of these big-time skill shots. As, I know we're not going to be able to take a second look at that death sentence, but that was, I mean, so much credit goes over to him because they need that. They need any break they can get this game. It's so tough to catch an Ezreal. It's going to be so difficult to land another one of those in the game. The fact he was able to find one, netted an objective, big break for 100 Thieves, and that's important in making sure they're able to continue to try and get back in this game.
And it denies that soul point potential Team Liquid were set up. They were right there at the edge of getting themselves 3 dragons, which I would say is one of the most important things of how much control it gets you on the map. You know where you have to fight. And now Team Liquid feel a little forced to start up this Baron, but they don't have the fastest Baron take.
It doesn't matter. 100 Thieves, they were on a reset. They're getting out to fix their side lanes. They see both solos at the moment. They are hiding in mid. They just spotted the Baron now. It's already at 5K, and it's gone. They can't even contest it as Team Liquid. What a call from them.
That was a great call. The fact they read all these resets with their vision. They make the play.
Here come
and
the
now
solos.
Here's Bradley, but he's played back in. That's going to be the ultimatum onto Kenvi. He can't charge his way out of this one. There's going to be a nice lantern to keep it safe. But wait, what? What the hell? Jimmy died on the other side. This is going to be bad for the side of 100 Thieves because they are outside of their base. They don't have a way to escape, and here's the charge. Harry on the other side, but they already got the kill onto Kenvi with Gomsu over the wall, but Busio, Wixie, they're the real targets. The flash from Busio to get away, misses that death sentence and dies to Yon. Revenge comes in from Yon to take them down. It is a triple kill to top it all off.
In all the good work put in by 100 Thieves to take that dragon, it is immediately erased off the map by a good aggressive call from Team Liquid, Harry finding a pick, and the rest of the team collapsing on 100 Thieves as the moment that they put it together, everything just falls apart for the Thieves as Jimmy was rotated to try and help support them with his play, support them with this mid turret. He's just caught out by Harry, lands a beautiful charm, takes him down, and from here, it's a 5v4. You're against resets. There's nothing stopping Team Liquid from pushing forward in the fight, and 100 Thieves just could not contest this.
And we also have to applaud Brad during this replay. How he plays these team fights. There's a reason we built him up at the beginning. His lane phase, okay, but he did a good job in this matchup and something that shouldn't have been as well. But it's how he was able to find those picks and set up Yon to make sure this fight worked out so well.
I mean, once you get that first kill, you're playing with a Karma and resets on an Ari Viego. I mean, that is the dream scenario for Team Liquid, just chasing him down with Camille. Nothing the 100 Thieves could do. Going for that mid-outer, bit of an overextension from them. And Team Liquid's going to punish, man. They want that 4-0 this week. They want to start it off with a 2-0 over 100 Thieves. The rematch from our Proving Grounds 2021 final. 100 Thieves came out on top of the best 5-0. Both these rosters have some different looks, but I think it says a lot that Team Liquid... this is when they are re-debuting that 4-man roster, the 4 returners they had since that roster that was ending up taking second. And, man, I think this has just been a huge statement from them. These guys are back. They're here to contest for the top of the table of Academy. And it's something that everyone in the league has to look out for.
They want to get out of the blob. They want to be right up on top and contest with the other top teams in Academy. And with 100 Thieves falling short, True Shot Barrage might go wide, but that is 2 inhibitors exposed, quickly taken by Team Liquid.
There's nothing 100 Thieves can do against the Baron. The wave clear that Vax Jinx has, it's not enough. And the poke of Ezreal Karma, it's too much as those 2 inhibitors fall. We'll see if Team Liquid sticks around once the base. It's a nice chunk from Harry. I think Team Liquid are going to do it.
Oh, this is the last push from Team Liquid. Unless a miracle can happen from 100 Thieves, this game is over. The Charm connect on Busio. There will be no death sentence to save this game. Everyone else is going to fall with you into the dirt with a double kill on top of it all. Wixie and Kenby use their fountain for safety, but the damage that can come in from Team Liquid harassing them at their own steps is massive. They have to go back to the bitter end of their own base just to make sure they don't give up more kills to Team Liquid.
And Team Liquid, from start to finish in this series, Mad Magical, it was taking prio and doing as much as they could with it. That was really the story. I know the 100 Thieves, they had some good fights back in this one, but it just wasn't enough as Team Liquid, man. This Ezreal Karma, their ability to play around this as a team, it's not just Yon and Ayla getting it done. It is all 5 members committing to this game plan, committing to how they want to play the map as 5. I think that was the big difference that we saw out of this Team Liquid that entered the Rift for Week 7. And something that these teams in Academy are going to have to be scared of as everyone still has 10 games left. Now, these 2 teams 4. And I know that Team Liquid, man, they are so confident with this core. And they were just debuting that on the Rift like it was no one's business. These guys came to play. They're going to be scary for the rest of this season.
I mean, they start off with a 2-0, already halfway there to Yon's prediction of what he wants to accomplish for this week, but also the fact that, as you had mentioned, this is just looking like the Team Liquid we're used to from last year. Only one change had been made in the offseason, being the top lane. So Jenkins got picked up by CLG. They brought in Bradley, who role swapped, and that game was a great showing of what we were expecting of Team Liquid going into the season.
It's something where, I mean, we know like how good these guys are. I think all the LCS fans know how good Ayla is. They also got a glimpse of Yon too. This is a team where I thoroughly believed last year, 2021, with their 5 members, when they were on, they were a top 6 LCS team as an Academy team. 4 out of the 5 members are returning. And if Bradley's able to, continue to play like that, if Team Liquid are able to continue to execute their lanes like that, I think they can do that again this year, can be a team that is that scary. And now just being 2 weeks left in the regular season, starting the prep for Proving Grounds, starting soon after, I'm really excited for Team Liquid. They look like they're starting to bring it together at the right time. Their main roster's back. This team's one that's going to be scary to deal with.
A 2-0 victory to start that train off is a great start for Team Liquid. We're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, Kangas will be here for an interview. Make sure you stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, for our post-series interview. I have support for Team Liquid, Ayla, here to chat with us about a very impressive 2-0 finish to the day. So congratulations, first of all, and also congratulations for the Corey JJ shout-out. I've seen on Twitter and social media he's been talking very highly of you stepping into the LCS team and helping out there. So first off, how does it feel to have such a reputable player hype you up?
To be honest, I was really humbled or very happy when I heard that, because I was not expecting Core to rate me as second best. It's kind of crazy, especially since it was my first time playing LCS. But I have a lot of respect for Core, so for him to say that makes me really proud of myself.
And I'm sure that part of the reason is because you did step up so well into the LCS roster and perform with them. You've been doing a little bit of double duty for Team Liquid overall. So how do you as a player prepare to play in two very different leagues with two very different rosters?
I think for me, I mostly focus on myself. I think it's not easy for anyone to have to alternate between rosters, especially for Hans. I thought Hans Summer, he struggled a bit, and I think I'm similar, where I like to learn certain habits or learn certain stuff over time with players, and then over time you'll see a lot of improvement, which you can't really do when you're swapping ADC, swapping entire map or teammates. So it was not easy, but I think how I worked around it was I focused very heavily on myself and how I wanted to play the game, and then I just asked a lot of questions and made sure I understood how my teammates wanted to play and went from there.
Sure. Well, clearly you had success now in both leagues. So what are you most proud about from your performance across both?
I'm really happy with my win in Lock-in. It was one of my goals, because I knew I was going to play probably for whole of Lock-in, and I was like, if there's one thing I want to accomplish in my time in LCS, it would be to win Lock-in. And we managed 3-0 EG, so I'm very happy.
That's fantastic. Now you're back in Academy, and you have Academy teams and players to prepare for going forward here. Team Liquid looking like in their really good spot, differentiating. We're calling it the clump right now. All the teams that are 13-13 tied in the standings. You were tied with 100 Thieves. Your next opponent is Immortals, another team that was in that clump. So right now, what do you think is the difference between Team Liquid Academy and those other teams that are around you in the standings?
The difference is that now I'm back and I'm gonna destroy everyone.
All right, them fighting words. I'll make sure that Immortals gets the message. Now, with hopefully a more stable roster going forward, what are your expectations for Team Liquid Academy with only 4 more best of 2s ahead of you?
Yep. So I think the format now, everyone makes proving grounds. So I'm not too worried about regular season. I think a big focus for me is just working with my teammates, because obviously I've barely played. I think I've had so the first I played 2 weeks ago, I had 3 scrim sets. Then I went straight into Academy, and then I had a whole week off playing in LCS again. So that break really shook things up, because I had a lot of things that I wanted to work on the team with. And then I sort of just started. We had a pretty bad week, and then I had to go straight back to LCS. But I think coming back, a lot of the things I talked about on my time in Academy during that 1 week, because there were a lot of problems we had. I think shout out to my team, because they really took that on board, even though I wasn't there to work with them on it. So yeah, I think this week's 2-0 really showed how much better we're going to be, because I want to push my team to be really good. I want it to be aggressive and really just challenge everyone and show that we're really dominant. So yeah, hopefully we'll do really well.
That's crazy that you only had a couple of scrim blocks in the past. How much scrim time did you have this week to prepare?
Another 3 scrim sets.
Wow. Only 3, and you're already able to bring together the 2-0. Congratulations, Ayla. Any final thoughts you have for any fans or anybody out there watching?
Just shout out to my team for being so amazing. Shout out to Jake. I think he's really worked hard. I don't think he's been in an easy position this year with having to swap players. I don't think it's easy for a coach, and having to teach new players. So yeah, shout out to him. I think he's been really working hard, and yeah, watch us and we'll perform.
Shout outs to Coach Spawn. Shout outs to everybody on the team. Thank you so much, Ayla. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck going into tomorrow's series.
Thank you.